You just met with a fantastic candidate for about an hour. Their resume is perfect and they said all the right things. So what's your next step? Hi, I'm Vanessa Rosenblum. I'm the president of Pro REA Staffing, where we are passionate about fostering careers in real estate and growing real estate teams. And today we're talking about a critical step in every interview process that far too many people skip over. And this is the skill assessment interview. There is no set of interview questions, there's no online skill test that can compare to putting a candidate at their future desk and having them do some real world assignments. So today we're going to talk about how to structure those assignments and some best practices around testing candidates for real estate assistant positions. Let's dig in. So first I want to clarify that there is a big difference between a skill assessment interview and a working interview. These are different things, and we'll talk about why we do not do working interviews later on in this video, so stay tuned. But first of all, a skill assessment interview is a chance for your candidate to sit in their future seat, assess what a day in the life in the office is going to be like, and do some real work to demonstrate that they really can do the things that they say they can do. And the reason this is so important is because just because a candidate was a real estate assistant for a broker down the street does not mean that they know how to do the job that you expect them to do at the level that you expect them to do it. I've heard it too many times. A future client calls me and they say, I just hired so-and-so's ex-real estate assistant and they don't know how to do anything. They don't know how to write a contract. They don't know how to pull comps. They don't know how to post to social media. I don't know what they were doing over there. And of course I ask, well, did you test for those things before you hired them? No. So you can avoid bad hires by a huge percentage if you can just test what you expect. Now, in addition to testing that they actually have the skills that they need to do the job, these skill assessment interviews give you a chance to figure out whether this person is a good fit for your office as a whole. Are they messy? Are they easily distracted? Are they on their phone? Are they asking good questions? Do they problem solve on their own? Do they seem proactive? There's so much information that you can get by giving a candidate some real world assignments while they sit in your office. So do not miss this step. So what kind of an assignment should you give them? Well, it really depends on the job at hand. So we're going to talk about your typical real estate assistant position. For most real estate assistants, they need to understand the real estate sales process, have some basic contract knowledge. They need to have good tech skills and know how to use the common real estate technology like the MLS and zip forms and its social media and Excel and Word. They need to have good computer skills and they need to have good writing skills as well. No matter what position you're trying to fill, you need to test your candidate's ability to write and assess whether they write at the level that you expect. At Pro REA Staffing, we have candidates take the DISC behavioral assessment and then write a brief essay responding to their results. What do they agree with and what do they disagree with and why? And that's the first step in our validation process of the DISC. But this simple assignment tells us so much about a candidate. First, we get to learn a little bit more about them and what makes them tick. We get to see whether they can write and how their spelling and grammar skills are. But we also see how they present their work. Do they just send the essay as an email and like inside an email, or do they format it with a heading and save it as a PDF and send it to us as a proper document? Do they catch typos? Are there double periods or weird commas or transposed words? And finally, we get to see about their creativity and professionalism and how they respond to the prompt. And finally, we always set a deadline when we give an assignment and we see whether or not they can meet deadlines. So asking a candidate to talk about their DISC may not be the appropriate assessment for you, but you might have them write a property description. And speaking of property descriptions, here's an example of a multi-step skill assessment that you could give a candidate who will be responsible for managing your listing process. Have a candidate prepare you for a listing presentation. Have them prepare a sample net sheet in Excel using formulas. They can pull comps, they can prepare your listing agreement and addendums, and pull the property profile. If a candidate can do all of those steps and they organize their work in a way that works for you, then you have a pretty good idea that they know how to manage that part of the listing process. Another assignment could be to market your new listing. So give them the specs on a property and some photos and have them write the property description. Select the photos that they would use in the flyer. If you create your flyers in-house, have them build the flyer, and then have them create the copy and set up posts for Facebook and Twitter, but don't have them send those posts. You could also have them write a blog post for your blog or your newsletter, and you could have them look at your contract to close checklist. You can just delete items off of it and ask them to fill in the blanks with what should be at each of those steps in the contract to close process. You can get creative with your assignments. Just make sure that they are perfectly relevant to the job and use the same assignments for every candidate that you test so that you can compare candidates apples to apples. Now, what if you're hiring somebody who is fresh out of college or is transitioning from another industry and they don't know how to pull comps or write a contract? You can still test their writing skills and their computer skills, and you can teach them something that they don't know how to do, and then see if they're able to catch on and complete the task. This is really critical because you want to know whether the way they learn matches the way you communicate. And you want to see, do they take notes? Do they ask good questions? And what do they do when they're stuck? And speaking about being stuck, everything is figure outable, and there's a YouTube video for practically everything. So I would encourage candidates to research if they don't know how to build formulas in Excel or they don't know how to do a specific techie task that you need them to complete. Tell them that it's okay for them to go figure it out and see how resourceful they are and see if they can follow directions and get things done, even if they don't walk into your office knowing how to complete the task. All right, I promised that I would talk about the difference between a skill assessment interview and a working interview. So I'm going to give you a typical scenario that you may have done or you might have heard of. So the hiring manager has a candidate that they think they like and they want to test them out. So they tell the candidate, we'll pay you $100 if you'll come in and work for half a day or a full day, and we'll see how it goes. So the candidate comes into the office, they answer phones, they send emails, they do real work for that day. And at the end of the day, the employer says, this isn't going to be a good fit. Thank you very much. Here's $100. Goodbye. What that hiring manager did is considered tax fraud by both the IRS and the Employment Development Department. And it's a big no-no. If you have a candidate do real work, or for example, if you have them write a property description and you use that description, then the law says that you have to hire them as an employee, put them on your payroll, get their I-9 and verify that they can work in the United States, get on your workers' comp plan, give them your employee handbook, and make them a full-fledged employee, even if it's only for one day. And then at the end of the day, you have to terminate them. That's a huge mess, and it opens you up to liability that you just don't need to sign up for. Test their skills as skill assessments, and then when you hire them, make sure that your employment agreement includes an at-will clause. You can terminate your employee at any time for any reason, but don't go through all that rigmarole until you are 99.9% sure that they're the right person for the job. So there you have it. That's how to test candidates for what you expect and to verify that they really do have the skills and abilities to do the job that you're hiring for. If you found this information helpful, please hit like and subscribe so that you can see more videos like this in the future. And by the way, I highly recommend that you check out my video on the DISC behavioral assessment and how to use that assessment during your interview process. I'll see you on the next video.